All right, I'm here with my friend Chris. Last time you saw him, we were in LA when I was out there visiting. He lives in San Diego, but he's here in South Carolina for a few days visiting. And we're going to take him for a ride in the Cybertruck. So, first, we're going to do a Costco run with version 13 FSD. Let him see how that is. And then we'll let him drive. And then I'm going to drive his Genesis here. That's a G70, is that right?
G70.
G70, yeah. He's an engineer. He's a pretty smart guy. He's not stupid enough to buy a gas car, but that's just his rental while he's here in town. So, but it's a nice rental. And in case you wondered, I've got, I think, every Tesla hat they've made in the past 6 or 7 years, including several ultra rare ones. And this is the Cybercab Robotaxi hat. And not available on the store, at least it's not yet. But I'll be wearing that today. So let's get in the Cybertruck and head on over to Costco.
You can always edit.
I'll start it right now. Let's see how it goes in between the FedEx truck. Now this version 13, this is 13.2.2, I think. It is phenomenal. I mean, it is perfection in my opinion. I have not had one drive that I've had to disengage yet, and it's done some tricky maneuvers that I've not seen it FSD been able to do yet. And so we're gonna go to Costco, and one reason, well, I just saw it make a mistake that I have not seen it make that mistake yet. Tried to go left around this island.
Now turn left onto Wilson Ferry Road.
So we'll cut that out of the video now. No, we got to have the bad with the good. It usually goes around the right to the island, so I don't know why I did that. That's the thing about FSD. I mean, you always got to be on your guard and not get complacent with it, because in the most inopportune moment, well, you never know when it's going to, do something stupid. But I will say that is, since I've had version 13.2.2, that's the first mistake I've seen it make. I've not had it have to disengage yet. But this run to Costco, when we get off the freeway, it has to cross about 3 or 4 lanes to get in the far left lane to make the turn to go to Costco. So we're going to see if it can do that. I've never had FSD successfully been able to do that when we had, a significant amount of traffic on that road. Now, it can do it if, obviously, there's no cars in the way, but we're going to see specifically how it handles that maneuver. So just buckle up and let's go for the ride and see. All right, so hands-free, FSD is still going. What do you think so far, Chris?
Yeah, looks good to me. Better than what I had, but mine was a couple of years old.
Yeah, Chris had a Model 3 Performance, and he had FSD. It was even before 12.5. 12.5 was a significant release because that was the first time they went to a single stack for a highway and city street driving. And I don't know if you remember, previous to that, whenever the car FSD did a transition from city streets to interstate or freeways, it was a shit show a lot of times, that transition period. And
I experienced that.
Yeah, you experienced that as well. Yeah, and so 12.5, they went to the single stack. Actually, I think they went to it version 12 maybe, and 12.5 I think was when they went 100% Euronet. I get those two confused, but anyway, 13 is another game changer. Like I said, I'm running 13.2.2 right now on the Cybertruck. So we're still headed to Costco, and we'll pick back up here in just a little bit when we transition to the freeway, and then we're going to see if it'll make that cross when it gets back off the freeway. It's got to go across 3 lanes of traffic to get into the far left turning lane to turn to Costco. So we'll see how it does. All right, so we're coming up here close to the freeway, and you'll get to see how well it transitions. Although I got to say, we're only going to be on the freeway just maybe a couple hundred yards. We're not even really going to get on the freeway long enough for you to, judge how well it does, but you'll get an idea of how the transition goes. I don't know if you noticed, but the screen on the Cybertruck, it's a lot higher refresh rate. And I'll tell you, speaking of that, one of the big game changers as far as Cybertruck FSD goes is the hardware 4 that's in this thing. It is significantly better than hardware 3 we had on our Model 3s.
Yeah, the graphics are much smoother.
Not just the graphics, but the decision making.
Yeah.
It's like human level latency. It is unbelievable. So we're getting
I hope it's better than human.
Yeah. Well, even if it's as good as human, I think it'd be acceptable. Most humans are bad drivers, though. So that's a low bar, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You don't say.
So we're in the turn lane here to get on the freeway, and we're going to see. Like I said, we're not really going to get on the freeway. As soon as it gets on, it's going to just get into a lane and merge right back off. But we're going to see how well it can be watching the screen once we get back off the freeway, because you want to see how well it'll get across these 4 lanes, or 3 lanes. And if it doesn't get across, it's got a backup plan. It can go on down to another intersection and take a left. And that's usually what FSD has to do, but I haven't tested this route with 13.2.2. Pretty aggressive getting over there, and the lane it needs to be in, which is good. And so it should stay in this lane, and it looks like it's going to. And then we're going to be getting off here to the right.
Take exit 21 be on the right onto US 29 north toward downtown Spartanburg.
This is one of the trickier maneuvers I know of, just because and there should be a good bit of traffic with it being just a couple of days after the holidays. A lot of people are taking gifts back to stores, and the mall is over this way, so should be pretty dense traffic here. And so we're getting off, and it's probably going to be pretty aggressive. I don't see there's not a lot of traffic there. There's a few cars.
In 500 feet, turn left onto West Blackstock Road.
And we got an idiot that stopped in front of us, so that's may help or hurt, I don't know. So let's see how it does here. Now let's see if it moves forward and gets in that left turn lane. It should. Yeah, there we go. Pretty smart. That's exactly what I would have done. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of traffic the time we come there, so it was able to get over pretty easily. But we're in the turn lane now to go to Costco. Let's see if it'll make this light. This light doesn't stay green very long, so we're probably right on the border as to whether or not we're going to make the cut.
Now turn left onto West Blackstock Road.
It looks like we made it. FSD version 13, it really likes to hug the left. Did you notice that when we made the turn there?
I did not.
Yeah, it likes to hug the left median or lane or whatever. And it's pretty aggressive about getting over there. It didn't even, as soon as that car beside me started turning into the left lane, this jumped over to the left lane to occupy its space. So that was a pretty good maneuver. Very human-like. I mean, this version, it's like every maneuver it makes, it's like what I would have done, you know, and what FSD would not have done in the past. It was always about, before it was about getting in the worst lane to be in, you know, at the wrong times. Like, why are you in this lane behind this truck that's going to go slow when you could be in the other lane? You know, that kind of thing. And this is a lot more intuitive and a lot more intelligence. You can tell behind the decisions you make. And like this, it's a good one. It's jumping in this left lane way before over the yellow lane and median because it knows this traffic back. You know that this area is prone to be backed up. Super smooth. You impressed so far?
I like it. Would be nice to have.
In 500 feet, turn left.
Now, I don't understand what it's doing here. Oh, it's going to... Okay, this is weird. You can get to the Costco parking lot by going straight. It's going to turn in here and go in sort of like the side entrance, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's more extra maneuvers it has to do. And so just more testing. And did you have auto park on your Model 3, Chris, where it would park itself? Do you remember?
It would park itself if it were right outside a spot. It wouldn't go.
It was difficult to have
smart summon where it would go park itself from dropping me off.
Yeah,
no,
well,
didn't have that.
They don't have that feature yet. So you see, we're actually going into the parking lot now with pedestrians and everything. But I'm just going to go ahead and stop FSD, and I'm going to show you how much easier it is to park now. Basically, the parking spaces show up on your display.
Yeah, there was some here.
Yeah, and you can just pick which one. So I'm just going to click on this one beside me and hit start. And I can take my seatbelt off, just sit back here, and you'll watch how I've never had it fail on a parking attempt. And I like this overhead view too. It shows you how close you are to all the vehicles and surroundings. It's really cool.
You know, the parallel parking for me in San Diego was priceless.
Yeah. And this works the same way on parallel parking. You just pick your spot, hit start, and you see how it's pulling forward just a little bit because it's going to straighten out. And it's like, oops, I didn't do that work good. It'll keep going till it gets it right. And I mean, it parks.
Look at that. Beautiful. Nope.
Cool.
Good enough.
And there we go. So we're going to run into Costco and get some toilet paper, and we'll be right back. Chris is about to drive the Cybertruck here. You can probably go now. Just go easy on the accelerator, too, because it's little... Well, put your foot on the brake now. It's going back in the park. And, yep, see, go out some more. There you go. It's a little tricky because of the four-wheel steering.
Yeah.
It takes some good use. So go left here. Well, I meant back there, but you can go up here and go left. That's fine. You can go right here and go left.
I got used to that gas again.
The gas?
Well, the accelerator pedal. You know what I mean. Accelerator pedal.
Yeah.
I'm driving a gas car again, so.
Yeah, and this one, I think I told you, the accelerator in this thing is a lot more responsive than the
signal. Where's signal?
It's the button. Yeah, the bottom button goes left.
This one?
Yeah. What's the curve there? Yeah, you need to slow it down.
I'm getting used to this thing. I haven't driven it.
What do you think so far?
I like it.
It's pretty,
a lot different from the Model 3.
Once you get used to driving this, I think I told you, you go back to the Model 3, and it's like, I don't ever want to drive this car again.
Yeah.
I won't. Give me the Cybertruck.
This is as big a difference, I think, from the 3 as my 3 was from my gas car.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. This is an awesome vehicle. Yeah, just be cautious of this when you go to turn right here, how sharp it turns.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to hit the curb is the main thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get used to. Yeah, that is a sharp turn. It's wild. It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, it will almost do like a 90-degree in place type turn.
So when are they adding the spin around G-Wagon feature?
I don't know, but I'm fine if they don't ever add that because I don't want to tear my tires up.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I'm going to have to navigate.
So, yeah, I'll turn on the
add a
navigation to take us
route.
back to my house. I like that steering wheel.
Yeah, that's pretty different too. How do I turn on autopilot?
You press that right scroll wheel.
Just press it?
Yeah, press it in.
Sweet. Let's try that.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic today. I never see this right turn to get on this road up here backed up this far back. So, do you have enough driving it? Or do you scared you're wrecking it?
I just don't know where I'm going. I'm just not familiar with the area, so I figured I'd let it take us home. Well, I guess I can leave the map on, and I can still drive. Yeah, I got used to taking my foot off. I got so comfortable with it before, just leaving my foot where it was.
Yeah.
The gas pedal doesn't let you do that in a
Yeah.
gas car.
Yeah, there's even some, gas cars that are implementing the one pedal drive. And I know some Toyota models and some Honda models, I think, are going to have one pedal. So that's been such a big innovation, on EVs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tell people once you get used to it, you love it. Stay in this lane.
Oh, I'm getting on 26.
Yeah, you go. No, this lane's fine. You want to be in this?
Interstate 26 east ramp on the right toward Columbia.
Maybe you should let autopilot. If you want to see it do a transition on and off freeway, activate it, and you can see it do it right here.
Now take the Interstate 26 east ramp on the right.
Before the single stack FSD, I don't know. I was always hesitant about letting it do, transitions like this, and it is just like butter now. It's better than I can even do because it can see behind it so well, and all around it's got that 360-degree view. You don't have to touch the wheel, remember?
Yeah, it's a habit too. You have to keep grabbing it every so often. It's not anymore.
Smooth as butter.
Tis.
In 1,000 feet, take exit 22 on the right onto Rico Road.
You notice that the motors are loud in this.
Now take exit 22 on
I can hear them.
Yeah, that was by design. They almost have a turbine sound, like a jet winding up and down.
Yeah, I noticed I could hear them.
Yeah, it's very high tech sound, which I suspect that's why they did it.
Yeah.
Because you never heard the motors in the Model 3.
Nah, that thing was quiet.
This maneuver right here is we're fixing to do. I used to never trust this car to do this, and it's just, butter. It'll go watch after this. Look at
Yeah,
that.
look at that. Perfect.
And it's got to get over one lane too, and it'll do it. Watch, see, because this lane ends or has to turn right at the next intersection. And I used to have a problem for years with FSD. It would go all the way to the next intersection and have to see that it was a turn only lane before it would get over. Pretty cool.
It is. I am impressed.
Yeah, I mean, and all these Wall Street analysts that don't think that the cybercab is going to be a real thing. I mean, um, you know, that's why Tesla stock is soaring the way it is, because people are buying the stock based on what the future holds, which is autonomy, and nobody is going to be able to compete with Tesla because they don't have the what, Mr. Engineer? What does nobody else not have?
They don't have the stick-to-itiveness Musk has.
Well, no, the one thing they don't have, they could emulate the hardware, they could probably emulate the software, and they probably, a company that's out there has the drive, but the one magic thing they don't have is the training data for the AI.
Well, that guy too.
It would take another company many years to accumulate the billions and hundreds of billions of miles it's going to take to achieve full autonomy level 3 plus. And Tesla's accelerating their training by using high resolution data that this hardware for has been providing for the last several years now on their new supercompute cluster. It's going online in Austin. So the whole thing is just accelerating very fast, and this 13.2.2 is just proof of that. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's surprising to me with all their map data that they're still using Google.
Yeah, I can see them in the future possibly ditching Google for their own maps, but we'll see. And that is one Achilles heel, I will say, I've noticed so far on the FSD is your maps are sometimes not accurate, and it gives bad driving instructions. Oftentimes it'll want you to go to an intersection and do a U-turn, which version 13 will do a U-turn now, which is pretty incredible to see. But a lot of times the maps will tell it to do a U-turn, which in reality it can just cross over the intersection and make an unprotected left turn. Yeah. So the maps do need to be improved. I will say that there was an update recently on the maps within the last 2 or 3 versions that the maps have gotten are better, but they're not perfect. But what is nearly perfect to me, it seems like, is this version 13.2.2. I mean, I would sit in the back seat and let this thing drive me anywhere. It is so smooth.
You have more faith in it than I do.
Well, yeah, I've been driving it for, I probably had this version for, I don't know, less than a week, but it's been a few days because it came with the 2024 holiday update, Christmas update, which also lets you use your Apple Watch as your key now, which is handy. Pretty cool.
That's handy.
I don't know. I like it, but it is handy. But at first I was afraid that I would forget my phone. But then I discovered today that even though it doesn't automatically detect your watch as a key, you actually have to go onto your watch and open the Tesla app.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I guess that's good. You won't accidentally forget your phone in that case. So now I think it's a very good idea. So we're about to make a turn up here. The rest of these maneuvers it's going to make are pretty easy though. I do them all the time and have done them for years. But it'll get in this left lane and make a unprotected left turn. Well, it's probably going to be a protected left turn at this point because we're coming up to a red light and we'll have a green light, a green turn signal. Smooth. Those stops are smooth, aren't they?
The whole thing is smooth,
Yeah,
except when I'm driving.
when I first got FSD on the Cybertruck, the version 12 we had, I mean, it was a very jarring stop most of the time, and your head would whip forward and back.
Yeah.
It is buttery smooth stops now, and turns and everything. It's incredible how they can fine tune the smoothness. I don't know what they do to, you know, the granular control they must have, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's all the AI. I really don't understand, but it is really smooth. Comes a cool looking Mustang there. You notice every Mustang you see, it always makes so much noise.
It's not just Mustangs. But yeah.
A lot of trucks around here, but if it's a car making a lot of noise, it's 99.9% of the time it's a Mustang. I had one guy, kid, come over to my house and did some yard work recently, and he loved his Cybertruck, but he said I could never drive one because it's not loud enough for me.
My son is the same way. He has a Mustang, and it's the craziest sound.
So we're coming up to this intersection. It's going to make an unprotected left.
In 500 feet,
And
turn left onto Moore Duncan Highway.
one thing I have seen this version 13 do that I have not seen previous versions is if you're sitting at a red light to make an unprotected left and the light turns green, it will go ahead and move out into like the middle of the intersection like a human would. And I've not seen previous versions of FSD do that. It would sit and wait until it had a completely clear path before it would even start going. All right, so we're going to make this unprotected left here, and then we'll be back at my house in about a mile. And then I'm going to drive Chris's Genesis, or his rental car. It's not really his Genesis.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Wilson Ferry Road.
Arentasis.
Arentasis. A rental Genesis. Speaking of Genesis, they have, and Hyundai and Kia, they're a pioneer in electric vehicles. Okay, so this will be a good test. Is it going to go? I say it will go.
Yeah, plenty of time.
It had plenty of time. I mean, to the untrained observer on FSD, they may think that it didn't have enough time, but as many times as I've seen it do unprotected lefts, I will tell you it had plenty enough time. So yeah, you can hit the scroll wheel and just take over here and
I'll speed up.
drive the rest of the way. And
it feels wide.
Wide? Yeah, it is wide.
I feel like I'm going to ride this yellow line to stay in the white line.
Well, the speed limit is 25 on this road. You're doing 43, so.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're driving like you're in California.
Old habits die hard.
Get the horn. Little kid. Anytime I see a little kid, I hit that horn, and they usually like that. Sounds like a fire truck.
You change the sounds like you could on the 3?
You can, but that's the actual horn.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Tesla shipped these with 2 actual physical horns on the. They knew that at some point they were gonna go to the new horn. It's called a super horn, and it's actually a speaker, a very, very loud speaker. But they didn't have NHTSA's permission to do it at the time, so they didn't tell anybody they had done that. And then once they had permission from NHTSA,
just turn it on.
They did a software update that activated that new horn and disabled completely the old car sounding horn, which was, and I thought that was pretty sneaky.
I went to hit the turn signal. There wasn't one.
Well, there is one, but it's not a stock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just like there was nothing there.
So you like it?
I do.
Now
So-
turn right onto
It's
Gracewood
something to
Circle.
get used to.
Are you going to buy one, or are you too cheap?
Cheap or outside of the means, however you want to look at it.
Well, I think you could afford it, certainly. Software engineer.
It depends on priorities, I suppose.
Alrighty, cool. Cool beans. Alright, so the Genesis G80, this is a gas version. I don't think they make this in electric, but they do make a G80 in electric. Did you know that?
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they got a G80. So let's go ahead and get it started here. And these, I tell you what, I've always loved the design of the Genesis cars. I like the screen. Is this touch screen? I guess it is.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is really nice for a gas car. Really cool. I don't miss the creep. I do not miss the creep.
Yeah.
As
When
soon
my
as-
son was driving my 3, he would turn that feature on his profile because he missed the creep.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have the creep on my Model 3 when I first got it for the same reason. And then, one day I turned on the one pedal and decided I was going to start using that. And, I mean, once you get used to one pedal, you'll never go back to the creep again. But, yeah, this is... I'm going to turn the lights on here. Let's see. I feel like I don't have any lights up here.
I turned them down.
Down low? Okay.
Yeah, it's on the bottom left as a dial.
Bottom left dial. Oh, I see it.
Or button or something.
Yeah.
No, I was driving late one night and they were really bright, so I turned them down.
Yeah, I got them turned all the way up, and even turned all the way up, they're like not bright. I mean, you could see it better.
Yeah.
But look at this touch screen here for the HVAC. Man, this is really nice looking for just an old-fashioned car.
It's a 24, I believe.
And let's put it in sport mode.
Maybe a 23. Actually, I don't remember now.
Yeah, I might have
Okay.
mentioned it, G80. Man, this mirror is like gigantic. It's like a bus mirror in this thing. I tell you what, I do not miss a gas engine. I do not miss a transmission. Just feeling it change the gears and revving up and all that is just, I feel like I've definitely gone back in time. And the ride on this car is real harsh. Did you think the same thing?
Yeah, it's got a stiff suspension.
Yeah. I mean, is it sporty though? Does it handle well?
It handles well, but it is kind of stiff.
Yeah, it's
Well, for a Genesis, I guess.
Yeah.
Handles well.
so are all those. So the left dials here are analog, but this over here on the right is all digital.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting too.
Yeah, I can see now the whole right is a screen, including that dial and the metal, but the left is an analog display. So yeah, I like the feel of these scroll wheels. Just kind of Tesla-like. I like that. And these rubbery buttons. I like the steering wheel pretty good. It's pretty cool.
It's been a nice car to drive.
Yeah. I mean,
Better than a Toyota Corolla or something.
yeah. I loved the G80 when I had it, but it was one reason I got rid of it is it was just a little bit too much car for me. It was too big of a car. I think this is a good balance if you want a smaller vehicle, but you want the luxury, of that the G80 has to offer. Of course, this is a lot nicer than my G80 that I had. This is, a much newer car. I think my G80 was a 2015 model, and it didn't have this new design with the floating touchscreen. My screen was embedded in the dash, and it didn't have these metal tactile feel buttons. So we're gonna get out here on the highway, and I'm gonna open it up just a little bit and see how it does.
It's pretty zippy.
Yeah, I can feel it's got a lot of torque.
It's nothing like yours, but it's zippy.
Yeah, all I got there was a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I mean, gee, I tell you what, those electric vehicles have got me spoiled.
They do. They'll
Yeah,
spoil you quickly.
all I had there was just a bunch of noise.
That's all you have in any car if you get an electric car.
Yeah, that's even in sport mode. I remember my G80 would just get up and boogie. This thing really did. I have no idea what size engine or how much horsepower, but if I had to guess, I would say this is probably a 4-cylinder and probably a turbocharged 4. It's probably got somewhere north of 250 horsepower, but not impressive at all in, comparison to EVs.
None are.
I'm just going to make a circle.
You see a video of Cybertruck towing a Porsche and outrunning a Porsche.
Yeah.
It's telling.
Yeah. So the lower gears, and the low end is really torquing, feels good. But once you try to lay down the pedal to the metal, it's not, Why does this screen not have anything on it? I guess it's like a screensaver until
You have to pick a function.
activate
put on
it.
the media or put on a map. Or
It should default to the map, but I guess you can't. And it's in dark mode. It's really. So is that Bluetooth?
yeah,
Okay.
Bluetooth to my phone.
And I guess, does this got, have you set up, do you know if does it have CarPlay?
It does not have CarPlay.
It does not have CarPlay?
Nope.
I'm sure it's got CarPlay, wireless CarPlay. Maybe it's got CarPlay, but you got to plug it in. I see you've got a plug here, the USB-C plug.
If it has CarPlay, it is not obvious, and I did not try to figure it out.
Yeah. So I was mentioning earlier that, Hyundai Group, which comprise of Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, and maybe even some other brands, but they're one of the leaders in the EV space as far as I'm concerned. A lot of people are concerned. They've got one of the largest, most affordable EV SUVs on the market with their EV9, and then of course they have the EV6, and then that's on the Kia side of things. I'm gonna make a left here. And then on the Hyundai side, they've got the G80, and they've got, I think, a Kona. I think they've got, and then they have the Genesis. I've got that confused. They have the Genesis is the G80, and then they got a Genesis SUV that's all electric. I'm not sure exactly what cars the Hyundai brand has, but they make some really popular EVs, and
A friend of mine has an EV6.
EV6, yeah, that's a really good car. It's got has a lot of praises, and a lot of people who buy those really like them.
Yeah, he is incredibly happy with it.
Yeah.
Of course, he's one of those people who says they would never own a Tesla, though. So I'm not quite sure what that attitude is about, but
yeah.
so he thinks that's the best one that he could get without considering Tesla, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tesla hate, especially in I know in California.
Yeah.
After everything has happened, recently in Elon's foray into politics.
Yeah.
But that being said,
Even before
really
politics.
the biggest problem with any EV outside of Tesla is the charging infrastructure. Just as very, very poor. But more and more companies are being able to charge on the Tesla network. I think Hyundai, Kia is slated to start charging in January 2025. So next month. It's December 2024 as we film this. And so, as more cars are able to charge on the Tesla network, I'm able to charge my Ford EV on the Tesla supercharger, and it's been a game changer for us, for me and for my wife. We recently went on a road trip, and we, had peace of mind that we would be able to find chargers and charge anywhere because with the access to Tesla superchargers. But there's also other companies like there's a new charging network called Iona, and I did a video. I went to Apex, North Carolina, in the Raleigh area last week, and filmed a video and did an interview with their CEO. But Iona is comprised of 12 car companies, including Toyota, BMW, Mercedes, GM, and some others. And they've finally decided they got to go in together and build the charging network because the infrastructure is so poor right now. But they have plans of installing 30,000 chargers by 2030, which is pretty phenomenal feat to match Tesla's number of chargers that they currently have in North America in just 5 years. But they've going to accelerate and streamline the manufacturing process on their charge equipment, and they're using Alphatronic, which is a well-established brand, and they've got a lot of experience in the European market with the chargers, and they have a facility in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they're going to be pumping those things out, just like Tesla. I don't know if you're aware, Chris, but right now Tesla, they manufacture their supercharger equipment in Buffalo, New York, in the facility there, but they're rolling those things out ready to be deployed right out of the factory. So they roll up on a new site, and even the concrete base that the supercharger dispensaries are mounted in, the dispensary is already in the base, and they just drop that entire concrete piece with 4 or 5 dispensers already in it.
Yeah.
The conduit's already in it, the wiring, it's just all plug and play. So it really streamlines the deployment of new superchargers. And I think Alphatronic's going to be doing the same thing with Iona, so they can get these things rolled out. So getting 30,000 in the next 5 years, I think is definitely doable, and it's going to be interesting to see. But it's going to be good for the entire industry, no matter what car brand you drive. It's going to be cool.
We will need it. We're going to have lots of more electric cars and gas soon. Well, not soon, but at some point.
But I am not impressed with the G70 Hyundai, and this is not a cheap car either. I haven't looked at the price of these recently, but I would say, take a guess, is north of 50 grand. You have any idea what it?
I don't. I didn't look into it at all.
Is this considered a luxury rental?
I believe it is.
Yeah, this is what I would expect to get.
Or premium, or whatever their levels are, I guess. Depends on the company.
Yeah, so they probably charge you for a luxury brand. They give you this instead of a BMW because they can buy this cheaper than a BMW. It's cheaper to get serviced than a BMW.
Yeah.
It's probably cheaper to insure than a BMW.
Yeah.
So this is their luxury brand. No,
Hey, I rented a car a few weeks ago, to go out to Vegas, and they rented me a BMW X7. That was a fun one to drive.
Yeah, I mean, that shocks me that they have those as rentals.
Yeah, that was a nice one to drive.
Yeah, they have an i7, this electric BMW 7 Series out too, and that's a pretty substantial machine from what I understand. It even has a movie theater in the back. Like, it has like a 50 or 70 inch screen that the whole top comes. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, and then the back seats recline, and it makes it. You can cut off that recording.
That sounds awesome.